Love that beat drop. Yeah, what's up, everybody? Happy Hump Day. Meow. Meow. Happy Wednesday, September 8th, 2021. We are halfway through the week. 1 day away from some official football. Why did the cat wait till I go live to start meowing? What's up, everybody? How did you do last night? Hopefully you did well. If you didn't, hey, there's today. Meow. That might get annoying real fast. If you played some Nelson Cruz and Mike Zunino yesterday, you probably made a little bit of money. So hopefully you did. Hey, what are you doing? Psst, psst, psst. Cats, man. I literally tried to open the door. Hey, you want to go in here, lay down with your mama, right? No, I'm good. Shut the door, come sit down. The minute we go live, meow. Alejandro Kirk. Can we talk about this guy? It not one but two yaks. One off of Garrett Cole, so that one counts. And then Blake Snell, a 30 bomb, 11 strikeouts, 7 innings, had a no-no going, and then all bad from there. A ridiculous inning that actually got him out of the game, a couple of earnings, but still was the best pitcher play on the slate. So I think we were there. Come on, dude. That's so wild. Anyway, Bobby Dalbeck, 32 yesterday as well. What's up, chat? Coach K, I'm going to Eovaldi and is that a Coach K sighting? I don't feel like I've seen you in chat for a while. Hope you've been all right. Dang Lazy Mofo, Jonathan Adams, Sean V, Tone Loke here. What's up? What's up, man? What's up? How y'all doing? Last night, Wade Miley also kind of stuck out there. We did briefly discuss his recent history against the Chicago Cubs and a couple of upside games. It went massive upside here, 8 strikeouts, only 5 hits in 7 innings. So if he had some Miley, that was huge. I did have some Miley and Snell lineups, but they did not feature Nelson Cruz and Mike Zunino. I did have some Ray stacks as well. It was my lineup construction was kind of weird. Like I didn't have that much Miley. I had him capped at 10%. But man, the Rays popped off, and I know we did talk about Eduardo Rodriguez being a volatile pitcher, and you're gonna want to get on both sides of that when he's on the bump. But man, did Tampa take that to a whole new level. So my top lineups were Ray stacks with Zach Gallen and Blake Snell, but if I could have had someone that Wade Miley over Zach Gallen, that would have been great. Not that Gallen was a horrendous play. He got us to the 20-plus DKP threshold, 7,900. But, yeah, Miley stretched out for a little bit more ceiling. What up, Matt Giles here? What up, what up, Josh? Here, what's good, Miley Carey? Yeah, Miley was the guy here. My 2 homer picks yesterday were Justin Turner and Andrew McCutchen. McCutchen, no. And then Justin Turner hit 2, so it kind of made up for him. Sean says, I said 35 for Snell in here yesterday. He exactly until those 2 earned. Yeah, Snell was going off, and there was a point where he had, 2 games, 2 starts without a hit allowed. And just kind of felt like it was about to go down real quick after he started losing the strike zone there. He had a perfect game going through 6, so it was fun to watch. But yeah, and then like imagine if you played that late slate where it was borderline an angel stack on Blake Snell at pitcher, right? You had to get really weird, or I bet you could have got really weird and took down the top lineup on a late slate if you did that. Anyway, any other surprises from yesterday? I don't really think there was anything crazy. Guys, we did put up a NFL video this morning. Have more NFL content coming to you. You're going to try to get that showdown video out tonight. Covering showdowns is so weird, you know, because they're trying to make content out of one game, but it's more so a game of game theory versus anything else. So it's not like analyzing the matchup matters to an extent. And I guess that's true with most DFS content, but especially in a one-game scenario where you want to honor proper lineup construction, maybe honor a little bit of game theory, but it's really about lineup construction and leveraging against the field. So I'm trying to come up with a soft medium to maybe have 10 minutes worth of content. So that video should be out tonight. Showdowns tomorrow. Buccaneers and Cowboys, so look out for that. And then plenty more NFL content where that came up. We did develop and drop the first look of the NFL spreadsheet. If you guys want to take a look at that, one of my favorite tabs that we've added, oh my goodness, that I've added is the, I made a tab for tiers, and I'm about to have some tears listening to this cat. But if you guys aren't familiar with tiers, it is something I play mainly for NFL. They have it for other sports as well. But NFL, there's a lot of content for everything. And I do feel like tiers does tend to kind of slip through in terms of having coverage for it and having strategy and stuff for it. So what I did was I have my own projection run here, and I went and made a draft really of every tier in the tiers for the main slate this weekend. There's 8 categories. You essentially it's a pick 'em, right? Remember pick 'ems? You have to pick the highest scorer from each category. But I assume lineup construction can be pretty similar in terms of successful lineups. To classic mode, where correlations make more sense to do better, and hunting out correlations from each category or whatever. So if you do have a VIP subscription or you're getting one, be sure to check that tab out and maybe jump into a couple tiers contests over the weekend. But past that, I will have projections for DraftKings, Fanduel, and Yahoo for the Sunday main slate. That is up. My soft projections for that. And then the single game projections for the Dallas game and the Tampa Bay Rays game. And also we try to create something like a index portal that we have for baseball. It's going to feature the player name, salaries for DraftKings, FanDuel, and then some of the more pertinent stats. But since it's week 1, all of this is based on last year in terms of carries per game, targets per game, stuff like that. But that'll become more valuable going forward next week and so on. So hopefully this will help you guys with your research process week to week. And if you guys are VIPers or not VIPers and you have recommendations, suggestions, stuff like that, hit me up. We'll have the stats tabs, the defense versus position tab, all that good stuff. We just don't have that information for this season, right? And I don't want to get too dangerous in relying on that type of information for teams last year, because last year, different coaches, different player personnel, just different situations. So anyway, all that stuff's up. If you guys want access to that, rundfs.com, grab yourself a VIP membership. I'm excited. Let's get caught up. One more again. I should have said I have the pitcher Marte's going against, but it doesn't matter on a 3-game slate. No, on a 3-game or less slate, you can definitely take a bat or two against your pitcher. A lot more rules go out the window because the solo shot doesn't really hurt you as much Actually, it'll help you more than hurt you in terms of plus points in that particular scenario. And then also, you might get off on the bullpen. Like I said, last night on the late slate, Angels against Blake Snell were probably a little bit nutty in the pure sense of that word for the situation, right? But I also don't even mind like taking a couple hitters. What is that 3-game slate? It is Joe Ryan, Tristan McKenzie, Matt Manning, Mitch Keller, Rich Hill, Sandy Alcantara. Yeah, there's no way you don't get a pitcher against a hitter against your pitcher. More than likely, I don't really see that I could. I mean, you could, but like I would definitely open that up in the optimizer and allow it to. Dude, I got like dry mouth today, but luckily we have the bang. Guys, you guys ready to do some research here? We have got 9 games on the docket. Looks like a couple potential weather spots, but we're going to not play Weatherman, and we're going to trust the Weatherman to be the Weatherman. And we're just going to worry about the data in front of us in terms of what can be the good or bad baseball plays. And then you guys need to do your due diligence later on to decide if weather's going to push you on or off. Royals at the Orioles. We do have a Royals lineup out. Also, a couple weeks ago, I broke my second monitor, so I'm actually using a giant TV as my second monitor right now. It's like breaking my neck. So we've got Whit Merrifield, Nick Lopez, Salvador Perez, Andrew Benintendi, Carlos Santana, Adalberto Mondesi. Ryan O'Hearn is batting 7th. Then there's Michael A. Taylor. Edward Olivares is batting 9th. Hopefully this month we'll get a new monitor to fix it. I was thinking about getting a monitor to go above this monitor. That way I can just like look up, instead of looking side to side. I don't know. Space conservation. Pitching matchup here, Mike Minor taking on Matt Harvey. Royals have an implied run total 5.3. The Orioles 4.8. Weather aside, 6,700 on Mike Minor. You could definitely see a world where he returns a fantasy point output near the 3x. Maybe it's not a constant output, but it is definitely possible. We've seen him drop as much as 20 plus in tougher matchups. So I don't hate the idea of being open to him early in the back end of a pitcher player pool. Is definitely volatile at best, but he would kind of be introduced into the player pool with pencil or jotting his name down, because I do think at 6,700, with as shallow as pitching looks so far on the surface, he might make the mix for me. Looking at his metrics on the season thus far, against righties, a 4.44 xFIP, 22% K rate, 167 home run per 9. So all that should be isolated against a near all-righty Orioles lineup. Ryan Mountcastle, Anthony Santander, Trey Mancini, and Austin Hayes. All right, Austin, 2,800 for Hayes on FanDuel, 31 on DraftKings, and right now he is been the hottest hitter from the Baltimore Orioles. I think he's on something crazy hit streak wise. I want to say it's like 14 games. And yesterday we saw him send one over the wall. A lot of power flex for him as of late. So I don't mind him at his price point against a lefty to really take advantage of these lefty splits for Mike Minor. But like I said, I don't mind playing a little bit with Mike Minor. I do think you need to keep an eye on Trey Mancini. He has missed a couple games. Wasn't in the lineup yesterday. If he's out, it makes the Orioles stack a little bit easier for optimizer purposes. You don't have to choose between him and Mountcastle at first base. But I'm kind of playing both sides of this game so far. Matt Harvey, he feels better than he is, but you still you're not going to not stack against Matt Harvey, right? I do like the Royal stack quite a bit. Last couple games for Harvey, 4, 3, 4, 5 earned runs, 3 earned runs. So he's feeling a little bit more like the Matt Harvey of yesteryear. I will say the matchups have in terms of strength of schedule have been pretty tough, right? Catching Tampa Bay twice, the Atlanta Braves during that stretch, and then the Toronto Blue Jays. Those are really four tough matchups. So maybe against neutral to average minus teams, he can thrive a little bit better. I don't know quite where to rate the Royals. You feel like they're average minus, but this team is got 5 guys I don't mind putting together in a full 5-man stack. Merrifield, Nicky Lopez, Salvi, Benintendi to an extent. Santana yesterday put one over the wall. And then Adalberto Mondesi recently coming back. He's got a great combination of power and speed. And if we can neutralize his high strikeout rates, which we can with Matt Harvey and his 18% K rate to lefties, you could put together a really nice stack here. So we're keeping an eye on whether to play this game in general. For me, I'm more likely to play Mike Minor than Matt Harvey. I don't think I would have any Matt Harvey here. But I'm open to some Mike Minor, at least now. As we get through the slate, I might eliminate him from contention, but I don't mind looking his way. Let's get caught up on chat here. You guys got any hot takes for this one? Jonathan Adams, I like Toronto yesterday. I like him again today. Yeah, yesterday kind of was weird. DJ LeMahieu missed a very easy, I don't want to say easy, but for him, should have been borderline routine double play ball, and that led to some runs against Cole, and then Cole had to play a little bit of defense, and I guess he pulled up Lamb on his hamstring, and then all heck broke loose because the Yankees bullpen's not ready. They're in the middle of a 20 games in a row stretch, and that bullpen's already without a guy like Jonathan Loaizaga, who's hurt. Zach Britton is done for the year. There's a lot of question marks. So Blue Jays were able to really benefit, right? Let's get caught up on the other Tampa Bay Bucks. Did I say Bucks? My bad. It's messing with my brain dealing with these. Like I had to pause on Atlanta Braves because I was really close to saying Falcons. Fortnite or Yankees make you break the monitor? Nah, I promote pro wrestling in Texas, and this is not a joke. I promote pro wrestling in my area, and for show day, I had to bring my setup out there, monitors and stuff, and then the monitors just got broke in the transport back somehow. So we're not doing that anymore. So we have a separate monitor for that now, and I just haven't replaced it yet, but I need to do that this year. Royals suck. They bust again. Maybe. Did they bust yesterday? I remember seeing Carlos Santana homer, but I don't know that the context of the rest of that game. I wasn't on that game. I guess Salvador Perez was pretty trendy. I know Raj was sweating him in chat. Did they play yesterday? I feel like they definitely did because 3 runs. Yeah, I guess 3 runs. Who was on the bump yesterday? Alexander Wells, a little unknown rookie here. As far as the Royals themselves, Merrifield double digits, Nicky Lopez 8, Santana 14. So Salvi and Mondesi were kind of the letdowns here. I don't know. I don't mind going back to him. I wasn't on him yesterday, so I can't really feel like I touched the stove and got burned. But I'm not going to not play some Royals in Camden against Matt Harvey. Again, keep an eye on the weather. Let's move on to the next game. The Blue Jays at the Yankees lineup still to be determined. We got Alec Manoa taking on Louis Heel, not Gill, Heel. Manoa's 8,400 on DraftKings. Hill's 7K. This is an interesting wide range of outcomes matchup. I think the fact that the Yankees right now are listed as slight home favorites feels a little bit weird. I think Manoa is an exciting, talented pitcher, and this is a Yankees lineup that could offer him some strikeouts. And we've seen Manoa against this Yankees team, and we've seen this Yankee team kind of in a slide right now. Yesterday, all of the hits for the Yankees were singles. So that's not really the style of the Yankees that you expect when they put the ball in play. You expect that to be doubles, and then you expect a couple of them to jump the wall. Alec Manoa has 1 game against the Yankees this year, 29 DKP, 7 strikeouts. He has really good stuff. has nearly a 24% K rate to righties, 29% K rate to lefties. Joey Gallo had the day off yesterday. Much is being made of his cold streak that he's on. And then, of course, like I said, a couple of guys that will strike out with the best of them in this lineup through and through. So I don't hate the idea of playing Alec Manoa just from a analysis standpoint, and the data kind of backs that up. He doesn't have a big power problem, has a little bit more of a problem against lefties with a 1.7 home run per nine so far and an 11.5% walk rate. So you want to see if Gallo, Rizzo, Gardner, maybe Andrew Velazquez has earned another day in that lineup. Like, you want to see if those guys make the lineup to maybe take advantage of that. But for the most part, like, I don't think that would sour me from having some Manoa exposure. I'm going to be kind of playing both sides here. Lucas Hill, 7K on DraftKings. He's another guy. Like, I don't love the matchup, but pitching's pretty doggone shallow, and I don't want to get too concentrated with like coagulated ownership for guys that I don't think are in massive spots. I think basically every pitcher on this slate has something going against them today. Freddie Peralta, the Brewers seem like they're going to be real careful with their starting pitchers this final month of the regular season, and Peralta hasn't got out of the second inning in 2 games in a row. And even when he does, 10K hasn't gotten you a whole lot more than 20 DKP, and he's had some softer matchups, the Cubs, the Pirates, and the righty-heavy Cardinals. So there's enough to not feel like I want that to be my pitcher of the day against Bryce Harper-led Phillies. Shane McClanahan and Nathan Eovaldi, we can see a wide range of outcomes there, both solid pitchers, both solid offenses. You don't want to get too tied up there. Yu Darvish, I think, will be the guy that does kind of float through. Pitchers against the Angels right now are a thing. Potentially the Angels without Ohtani. But long story short, like, every pitcher that is average to above average isn't in a great spot. So it's par for the course with this one, Manoa versus Hill. I'm going to have to get to some Manoa, and I'm probably going to have to get to some Hill. Hill has a 28% K rate to both sides of the plate. We can really lean on his metrics against righties, a 3.66 xFIP so far with that 28% K rate. The Yankees are not going to ask him to go super, super deep here, but if you go 5-6 innings at 7K and put up a solid stat line, that might be enough to stocking stuff some SB2 lineups and kind of get you where you need to go. This is a much tougher lineup to strike out. It's kind of why I wasn't super on Garrett Cole yesterday, but Garrett Cole was almost 11K. I can nearly chop that in half and pay a 60% discount and hope for the best. So both offenses in return are in play. I think we might be a little bit more inclined to play Blue Jays right now based on this rut that the Yankees offense is in, and the Blue Jays are smelling a shot at the playoffs, right? The Rays taking the Red Sox behind the woodshed last night, and the Yankees going on the skid. The Blue Jays can get right back in it. So maybe that's something that is becoming a feeling in that dugout here. So I do think the Blue Jays are a little bit more in play for me than the Yankees, but I'm gonna be all 4 outcomes in this game. I'm gonna have Manoa. I'm gonna have Hill. I'm gonna have Blue Jay stacks. I'm gonna have Yankee stacks. So hopefully the Yankee stack is the most positive side of those 4 outcomes. But I think you guys have to understand where I'm coming from here. This is a hard to predict a game, I think. Let's get caught up on chat. You guys do anything particularly special with this one? Manoa 8,400. I just think there's still a lot of meat on the bone at that price point, even though he does have a little bit of volatility as well. What up, James Cox? Zunino, a catcher yesterday, scored 40. Perez let down a catcher, just refreshing your memory. Yeah. Who was my highest owned catcher? I'm trying to remember. It wasn't Zunino. I had some Zunino. Highest owned catcher yesterday. I can't remember. I think I might have been pretty even across the board. But usually I can remember my highest owned. I can't remember yesterday. All right, let's move on to the next game. Red Sox hosting the Rays. So I lightly just mentioned that this game could be a little bit more of the same based on the other AL East game we just talked about. Shane McClanahan taking on Nathan Eovaldi. Run lines for this one, the Rays are at 4.8. So are the Red Sox. Yesterday, this game got crazy. And the Rays started putting up massive numbers on Eduardo Rodriguez. And today, we get two of the best pitchers from each team. I would probably say, I guess Chris Sale is now back, so he's the best pitcher for the Red Sox. But Eovaldi's WAR is probably way higher than you might think it is. And Shane McClanahan has been a rock-solid starter for the front end of the Rays there. So when you put those two on the bump, you kind of don't expect a high-octane shootout. But these offenses are clicked in right now, and these offenses are pretty talented. So I don't want to repeat the Yankees and Blue Jays analysis here, but I feel like I'm going to have a little bit of the same approach. I do think I'm having more exposure to McClanahan and Eovaldi than I was on Manoa and at least Lucas Hill, because I do think McClanahan has been really solid metrically, right? When we look at Alec Manoa, at least his xFIP, not at least, but his xFIP is a little bit elevated. Same with Hill. We don't really have that with McClanahan. He's just been a really good pitcher with not a lot of faults. Maybe his expected ERA and WHIP is higher than you would want it to be, but the strikeout rates are incredible, and the ground ball rates are elevated as well. On the road, he's kind of been consistent too, so it's not really secluded to Tropicana, 49% ground ball rate on the road as well. So give me some McClanahan. Hopefully, he thrives in this spot and does just fine to pay off that price tag. And then Eovaldi, like I said, has a chance to go out there and be that guy for the Red Sox with a 25% K rate to lefty, a 24.5% K rate to righties. This Rays lineup's going to come out pretty staggered, but more lefties than righties. And then they are calling up the kid, Josh. Is it Lowe or Lau? I can never tell with these two. I don't know if it's Lau's brother or Nate Lowe's brother. But they're calling up the kid here. He's 2K bare bones min. If you are unfamiliar with him, he's a speedster. And I don't believe he's been thrown out yet when it comes to stolen base attempts. I want to say he was like 24 for 24, something like that. And in an average slash line, I think. At least he hit more for average than power. But let me double check that before you catch me fibbing. Let's go Josh Lowe. Chat, anybody know Lau or Lowe? You would want to get him Lau owned. This year in 2021, we've got 98 games of play, a 282 average, just a 369 OBP, 540 slugging. So really modest numbers there. But 908 OPS, a 0.61 ground out to air out ratio. But the stolen bases here, 24 stolen bases, has not been caught stealing. So looking like we're putting some speed here in the bottom end of this Rays lineup, and might actually enhance the at-bats for Mike Zunino if he can get on base, distract the pitcher a little bit. Zunino's a guy that he'll make people pay for mistakes. There goes the cat again. Meow, meow. I have to be the king of background noise when it comes to these videos, man. Trains, planes, automobiles, and cats. Eovaldi 9,500. I'm a little bit more scared of Eovaldi than I am McClanahan here. But like I said, I think I'm just going to approach this game and play every side of the coin. My goodness, this cat. What up, Earth to Air? 2 more days, bro. 2 more days of bachelor in this. Yo, Lorenzo, you doing a bachelor party or nah? I feel like that's such a taboo it's becoming a taboo thing these days, right? I think a lot of people forgoing the bachelor parties and just doing the wedding, which I feel like I would do that too, but I don't know. So I feel like I'm inclined to have a little bit more McClanahan than Eovaldi, but against Eovaldi, he does allow some power to righties, a 208 home run per 9 to righties last year, over 1 this year. So it's gone in the right direction. Nelson Cruz hit 2 bombs yesterday. So if he's locked in, he's hot. I don't mind going back his way. And then Mike Zunino, he's a huge power bat when he does make contact. This is a not great matchup in terms of expecting him to not strike out against Eovaldi, but like I said, if the kid can get on in front of him and force Eovaldi into a mistake, I don't mind looking his way. So not to be overly lazy, we're going to play both offenses, both pitchers, but I'm going to have more pitcher exposure than the offenses. But man, this slate, it's rough on warm and fuzzies for pitchers. Don't worry, your deck, you're supposed to always hit different. Yes, at the bar. All right, at the bar. Okay. I've never been to a bachelor party. Like I said, I don't know if any of my dude friends. I feel like it's all my homegirls that get married. I can't really think of any. I also just don't have a lot of friends like that. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of acquaintances. So, my best friend, I'd be shocked if he ever gets married. Braves lineup is out. The Nationals lineup isn't. Sean Nolan taking on Touki Toussaint. Touki 7.3K on DraftKings, a 3.44 xFIP to righties, and a 5.71 xFIP to lefties. And this Nationals lineup will probably come out mostly lefty. It comes out pretty hard to navigate in terms of predictive value on who's striking out and who's not. Lane Thomas so far, a near 30% K rate to righties. We expect that to go backwards a little bit since he doesn't have a ton of sample size. Yadiel Hernandez, a 24%. Keibert Ruiz, who was one of their prospects, almost a 40% K rate, and Carter Keevan with 30% K rate in the pitcher spot. So it's kind of unpredictable. What we do know is Touki Toussaint has struggled against lefties. Just an 18.9% carry to lefties, a 5.71 xFIP, and an over 2 home run per 9. So it does line up well metrically for Juan Soto, Josh Bell to hit for a little bit of power. And then Keibert Ruiz has been a guy that has shown a 200 plus ISO as well. So another spot where you think maybe 7K-ish is a little too cheap for Toussaint's upside, but the matchup doesn't make you feel great, and his splits don't make you feel great. And I don't know that there's one singular pitcher on this slate that I'm going to be able to stamp with confidence and be like, yep, that's for sure the guy. Maybe Yu Darvish is the guy that gets there, but his recent history hasn't been great either. Sean Nolan against lefties, a 16.7% K rate, 357 average allowed, a 2.7 home run per 9, and then more of the same against righties, a 300 plus average, a 169. So the Braves are absolutely in play. They're going to be probably one of my more sought after stacks, a 5.6 implied run total. There's not really a guy in this lineup I wouldn't play. I love Ozzy Albies against lefties. You're going to get Jorge Soler against a contact lefty with a high line drive problem. I think that's Soler territory. And as you can tell by looking at this bomb column, the Braves are all projecting pretty well in the bomb detector. Maybe we project positive regression for Sean Nolan in some of these numbers. Obviously, these are not big league pitcher numbers, but 17 innings of sample size so far. Just to maybe cross-reference that with Nolan's minor league campaign to see if if he's picking up where he left off in the minors. We'll pull up his MLB.com card and check out his splits. Gamer friends, nah. I do have some gamer friends, but I don't got nothing down here in the minors. But they don't give me I hate this site's so unpredictable sometimes when guys get called up. So yeah, I'm in on the Brave stack, and the Nats bullpen definitely doesn't scare me. If you look at this Nats bullpen versus walks percent plus, hit per 9 plus, home run per 9 plus, they are below average in every category. So you should kind of assume a 8 to 9 innings of plus EV at bats, more so on the eighth inning side, right? So I'm in on the Braves. I think we get to Tukey, but I'm also thinking this is going to be one of those spray and pray kind of nights in terms of pitcher exposure. And I might get to some higher ownership on a couple of guys like Gutierrez and Yu Darvish, but even those guys have pushback as well. So Tukey would be in the mix for me as well, but I would definitely have Juan Soto and Josh Bell in my player pool. So a really tough night. I guess it's an MMEer's dream and a cash game nightmare. Phillies at the Brewers. Next game on the docket, we've got Kyle Gibson taking on Freddie Peralta. Gibson 8,700 on DraftKings. Peralta 10.2K. The Phillies just a 3.6 implied run total. The Brewers 4.5. As I mentioned earlier, I think we've seen the Brewers a little bit committed towards not taxing their pitchers this deep into the season. They're basically coasting that division into the postseason, and they want to protect their pitchers. So I do have some tapered expectations on what ceilings will be for Brewers pitchers slate to slate. Matchup-wise, Freddie Peralta is going against a lower strikeout projected lineup. It caps here at JT Realmuto at 22.5%. It gets as low as Ronald Torres 10%, Didi 14%, Gene Segura 14%. So it could just be a scrappy spot in general. But Peralta does have the ability to go out there and strike guys out at an elevated clip. 29% K rate to lefties, 40% to righties. He's got a 4.5 xFIP to lefties as well. And this lineup projects to be half and half with a near 12% walk rate to lefties. So I definitely think this spot comes with a little bit of risk. Again, you feel inclined to get a little bit of ownership of him just because he probably has one of the highest overall strikeout rates on the slate. 34% might be the highest, and the propensity to be one of the highest raw point scorers on the slate. So we're going to have some Peralta exposure, but based on his ownership projection, I would be willing to pull back a lot versus the field if it got too crazy. We saw it get a little too crazy against the Cardinals, but the Cardinals have just been decimating like elite pitching, it feels like, all year. So I don't mind forgiving Peralta for that for whatever reason, man. I swear, especially like Woodruff, Corbin Burns. I just feel like the Peralta, the Cardinals have had their number. Prior to that, though, at home this season, Peralta's averaging just 20 DKP per game, really on both sides. So it feels like he's better than the results, but the results are the results in this deep into the season, and that's kind of what we have to work with. So I do like Peralta, but I don't like him if he's going to be egregiously owned. Do we want to stack against him? Probably not, even though the xFIP does suggest maybe a couple of these lefties are in a better spot than we think they are. Bryce Harper's always in play. Bryce Harper's always in play, but he's 5,900, so it's going to cost you. JT Realmuto, I think we saw him lead off yesterday, but that was against a lefty. We probably expect Odubel Herrera to be back in the mix. So it would just be the regular guys here, but a really, really low run total for the Phillies. So I'm not really running to get too exposed to them. No Kyle Gibson for me, 20% K rate to righties, 17% K rate to lefties. Top of this Brewers lineup, I wouldn't mind some exposure to Colton Wong to dig into this 17% K rate, 258 average allowed. To, I guess, Gibson's credit, he hasn't been a huge home run guy, but I also think that we've seen the wheels fall out, like major regression. We've seen him give up at least one homer in 3 of his last 5 games, but for the most part, he's a guy that's just given up a ton of hits, creating a lot of traffic, a couple walks here and there. So if you wanted to maybe stack the carousel to go every 90 feet for a bit and then dip into that bullpen, I don't think that's a crazy approach. Definitely some guys that are probably cheap versus what their potential output could be, but they also just have a 4.5 implied run total. So if you're trusting the Vegas line here a little bit more, no need to get aggressive, and I also don't think the Phil's going to be aggressive ownership wise. But I will have some Brewer stacks here. I don't know that I get to full fledged Philly stacks, but I'll allow a couple of the top 5 guys to be in the mix for me. Get caught up on chat. All right, Austin. Got any confident prize picks today? Man, I'm having trouble having confident DraftKings picks today, but we'll take a look at it. I guess today maybe we'll focus on some hitters, Reds at the Cubs. Vladimir Gutierrez taking on Alec Mills. Reds lineup is out. Confirmed Jonathan India leading off. Vladimir Gutierrez on the bump. Alec Mills, contact righty, on the bump for the Cubs. Looks like similar wind conditions as yesterday. Sub 70-degree temperatures. Vladimir Gutierrez is 7.7K. Does catch a projected Cubs lineup that has a lot of strikeouts in it. So we've seen crazier things, right? We've seen Wade Miley go above and beyond his median projection and median strikeout expectation. And it wouldn't be crazy to expect Vladimir Gutierrez to be able to do something similar against similarly bad teams like Miami. We've seen him hit the 30 DKP mark against Chicago Cubs 18. And 18 plus we'd probably take out of 7.7K today, right? And he's done 18 plus in all of his last, 8 games, sans his last 2 at Miami and Detroit. So the range of outcome for him to be a solid play at least exists at 7,700. So I will have him in the player pool. Again, this feels like one of the more deep pitching player pools for me in terms of exposure, right? It's just I'm not confident anywhere at pitcher. So I'm just kind of projecting what the ranges of outcomes could be and trying to slap enough ownership equity and hope that the right tiles fit in the right spots. And Gutierrez is 7.7K, having a solid game against the Cubs. That's something that exists at a solid range of outcomes. Against lefties, that's a real big worry. 14% K rate, 591 xFIP, a 193 home run per 9. So Rafael Ortega and Happ project well to stay hot, and Gutierrez has been a little bit more solid against righties. The hard contact rate below league average, a 44% ground ball rate. So maybe, just maybe, he can stifle Frank Schwindel and Patrick Wisdom. So would I play Gutierrez without a couple Cub stacks? Probably not. We're probably going to hedge life this one. Alec Mills, I'm not going to play any Alec Mills. He's just not a strikeout guy. 17% K rate overall and just a 7.2% swing and strike rate. 4.5 expected ERA, a 4.36 Sierra. Definitely somebody that you can pick on, and this is a Reds lineup that is pretty dangerous if you're going to dare them to make contact. And Nick Castellanos is the most expensive bat at 5K. Everyone else under 5K, making him easy to get to. I don't really think salary is going to be an issue on today's slate with as many question marks as we have at pitcher. I think India, Naquin, Castellanos, Votto, Moustakas 1 through 5 lines up really, really well, and then you spin the wheel, make a deal on 6 through 8 to fill out some diversification in your stacks. But give me the red stack for sure. They have just a 4.6 implied run total, and I guess I guess you could say Alec Mills is a bigger ground ball guy and maybe that'll spell it, but I feel it's a little light. I feel like I wouldn't be stunned if the Reds, if I looked over and the Reds were at 5, that would be something I would probably expect. So maybe the Reds have a little bit of upside versus the Vegas run line. So give me some Reds stacks. Give me some Gutierrez. A little bit of Cubs just to hedge some Gutierrez exposure. No Alec Mills, and I'm going to move on to the next one. Kickstarter says, I've been winning doing pitchers this slate, has me scared, but Matt Manning for over 3 strikeouts against the Pirates looks almost the best to me. Am I crazy for that? Matt Manning against the Pirates. I'll tell you what I can do. I can look at Matt Manning just in general and see if he has any. He's a 12% K rate guy with 6.8% swing and strike rate. Is that in? That's in. At least it's in an NL park, so I guess he would be able to pitch against Keller at least twice and maybe steal 1 or 2 in the rest of that lineup. but that wouldn't be something I would be super confident about. He's just not a strikeout guy. But 3 strikeouts is pretty low, right? You could get there on accident sometimes, so I wouldn't mind it. But yeah, that's ugly. Let's move on to the next game here. Cardinals hosting the Dodgers. I got Mitch White again up against Adam Wainwright. I'm not sure what the Dodgers opener will look like. Yesterday, I had Mitch White to start the day, and then it got switched up as the day progressed. And then I thought Mitch White might be the long reliever, but he's listed as probable for this game, at least as a starter. Yeah, at least as the starter. We've seen him go as much as 7 innings against the aforementioned Pirates, 91 pitches that game, 72 pitches in his last outing against the Rockies. That game, the wheels kind of fell off. He's 8,200. I really don't think I get to playing Mitch White today, but at least we might be able to project the Cardinals to get multiple at-bats against him. 24.7% K rate to righties, 24% K rate to lefties. Busch Stadium should play a little bit more pitcher-friendly. Maybe I'm a little bit lighter on Mitch White, the idea of Mitch White, than I should be, but I just don't really trust Dave Roberts here. Adam Wainwright has just been really, really rock solid. He's 8,100 on DraftKings. Now, there's enough reason to be scared of the spot against the Dodgers because they're a really good team. Everyone except Max Muncy in this lineup is batting essentially 280 plus since the beginning of last year against right-handed pitching. I guess Taylor's down to 266, Bellinger down to 266. But there's a lot of green in their offensive metrics. But Wainwright's not really a guy that's trying to strike you out anyway. He's pitching the contact, he's pitching for that ground ball, and he's getting length out of his pitch count. So is 8,100 kind of like a hero ball click here? Because Wainwright's not a guy that at least I feel like we're running to stack against. The Dodgers do have a modest 4.5 run total. Is 8,100 giving us some value? I think maybe. At home this season, Wainwright's given us just about 20 DKP a game. This isn't like 10K Wainwright like he was in his last start. This is 8,100. I feel like I might buy the dip here on Wainwright and, just kind of hope for 6-7 innings strong. Maybe he gets a strikeout here and there, but for the most part, expect him to just be his style of pitcher. So I don't mind having some Wainwright exposure. Obviously, if we want to pick on him, anyone on the Dodgers lineup is in play. Wainwright's weakness doesn't have really have a weakness in terms of power. The fly ball rate, it's 30% or below against both sides of the plate. Hard contact's low, so I think we just pick the Dodgers just because they're the Dodgers. I wouldn't overthink who should benefit the most or the least from Wainwright's splits. Elevated xFIP, not really. I guess a little bit of elevated xFIP to lefty. So I think I'm in on 8,100 Wainwright. I'm gonna grit my teeth and bear against the Dodgers, but I probably could put him in the player pool, cap him at 10-15%. I feel like 8,100 is worth the risk versus what the reward might be. Mitch White, probably not. I don't think I would push back if anyone of you guys came at me and said I'm playing Mitch White. I'm just a little bit unsure what we should expect Dave Roberts to allow him to do. I guess his pitch count is at least long enough that he could get through 5-6 innings, maybe pick up the win. Does have some strikeout potential. 6 strikeouts in his last 2 appearances. Maybe I'm too soft on Mitch White here, but I think I'm not really there just yet. We're gonna have a deep pitching player pool as it is, All right, we did get a couple lineups, including this Dodgers lineup that just came out. So let's get that going. Trey Turner, Max Muncy, Mookie Betts, Corey Seager batting cleanup, so there is no Justin Turner. Will Smith batting 5th. Chris Taylor is batting 6th. Albert Pujols. So you trade Justin Turner for Albert Pujols essentially in that lineup, and then Cody Bellinger. So maybe the lineup got even better in terms of Wainwright not getting crushed. I'm in on 8,100 Wainwright. I'm gonna do it. Let's move on to the next game. Angels at the Padres. So I don't know if DraftKings ever put Ohtani in the player pool. I don't know if it matters because I'm not sure that he's actually going to be in the lineup, but we've seen him play in National League games and play the field. But it seems like the Angels are so far out of it that you probably don't risk it. But it looks like Oliver Ortega is going to open for the Angels here. And who do we have coming out in long relief, according to DraftKings at least? It is Elvis Peguero. So, yeah. So that's what we're working with. So, a little bit of information on Ortega. We don't really have it. And then Elvis Peguero. What do we got on him? Anything? We should have a couple in. Here we go. 2 innings of sample size for Peguero has not been great. So, if that's the case, I don't know that this has been confirmed, but let me see. These are both, looks like young pitchers. I had it backwards, it looks like. Looks like Ortega's the long reliever and Peguero is the opener. So, might get 1 inning out of Peguero, and now we need to go look at Oliver Ortega's information from the minors. So let's do that. Let's go pull up his MILB.com card. Ortega. Gardy leading off. They tap into that lefty. Lefty line. Gardy had a couple hits yesterday. Him and Velasquez were getting hits. But like I said, all the Yankees hits yesterday were singles. So what are you going to do? Wow, this is not great. Ortega in the minors this year. Against lefties, 11 innings of sample size, 233 average, 14 strikeouts with no homers allowed. The thing is, the Padres will probably come out more righty than lefties, and against righties, hasn't been great. 19.1 innings against righties, 284 average allowed. Did get 32 strikeouts, so he is a strikeout guy, but also allowed 3 homers in 19 innings. And what we've seen as a trend, where these guys project really well, especially these strikeout pitchers in the minors, it doesn't transition immediately in the majors, and this could be a tough spot for Ortega going against guys like Fernando Tatis, Manny Machado. Maybe Tommy Pham gets in the lineup. He ended up in the lineup again yesterday. Jay Cronenworth. So I'm in on the Padres stack of a 5.1 implied run total. Just kind of stacking them. Hope they wake up. Yesterday was a sour a game of offense from them, and we've kind of seen that from the Padres over the course of last month, right? I think it's easy to forget that the Padres are supposed to be borderline an offensive juggernaut, and that hasn't been the case game to game. And we've seen these guys going on cold spells. So with that said, I'm still there on the Padres in terms of a single day stack against young pitchers that might not be ready for the moment. And then Yu Darvish, I think, is the topic of conversation here, because I feel like right now Yu Darvish might be the highest owned pitcher on the slate, and that's really just a knock on how bad this Angels lineup could potentially be in perhaps another absence of Shohei Ohtani. Even if Ohtani is in this lineup, Ohtani has a near 30% K rate. Look at the K rates in this projected lineup. Even I had Ohtani there because this morning they listed him as the pitcher. It sounds like that's not the case. So even if we put the pitcher spot there, I would still kind of keep the 30% presumed strikeout, especially a rookie minor leaguer. They don't hit in the minors. Pitchers don't. So a lot of 30%. So Yu Darvish comes to us with a couple of rough games in his back pocket in terms of his last few outings. And we've seen him struggle even in spots against like the Arizona Diamondbacks, teams like that. But man, is this Angels lineup really, really bad. Sandwiched in between 2 bad games against the Diamondbacks is a 14 DKP point game against the Dodgers, and then a 30 bomb on August 7th against the D-backs. Hiccup. Raj just popped in to say Yu Darvish the trap. What do you guys think? So the question today in the chat was, how much exposure to Yu Darvish will you have tonight? 41% of you guys have said 0% so far. 38% of you have said 0 to 20%. 10% say 20 to 40, and then 10% say 40 or more. Obviously, there's no right or wrong answer until tonight. But I was thinking I'd be on the 40% or more side just because of one, I thought I needed to be above the field, and I felt like the field was going to be aggressive there. And 2, this Angels lineup is ridiculously bad, and very high in strikeout potential. So if you're going to give me a lineup that strikes out almost 28, 29, 30% of the time, I got to take my chances on Yu Darvish at home in Petco Park here. At home this season, a 3.17 xFIP, 33% K rate. And he's keeping the ball on the ground in the park. So I feel like I'm in the 40+% area, but I don't necessarily think there's a right or wrong answer that I'm looking for right now from you guys. I'm just curious to see where you guys are at in your approach, because I feel like Darvish has the most realistic chance to be the highest scoring pitcher on the slate, right? And the same with Blake Snell yesterday. Even Blake Snell giving up some earnings, still went 7 strong. And pitchers against the Angels, man, they're just getting it done. Maybe we can run a stat muse real quick, kind of show you some numbers on just how bad they are. So we'll go starting pitchers, DKP by game log versus the Angels. Let's go last, 15 games. There's going to be some names that don't really, aren't fair, like Blake Snell, like Garrett Cole. But how about AJ Alexy, September 6th, 6th inning, young gun. He got to 29 DKP off of 7 strikeouts. Taylor Hearn, Colby Allard, 4 strikeouts in there. And these are not big strikeout guys. Cole got to 15. Tyon, Kluber, 6 and 6. Any other crazy numbers? Joe Musgrove went full-fledged chaos against them. Keegan Aiken, 7 innings, 6 strikeout. This is not a good team, and we're seeing some big fantasy outputs. 35 DKP from Cal Quantrill. I don't really see a reason to not project Yu Darvish as the highest scoring pitcher on the slate. So I feel like I'm going to be in the 40+ territory. So I just kind of wanted to be a little transparent on that. So let's end that poll and make the results final, and then I guess Friday we'll be able to look back and remember our mistakes or our good decisions. So I appreciate you guys participating in that poll. We have just one game left on the docket. Want to remind you guys that NFL's back, in case you didn't know, and we do have Showdown Slate coverage tomorrow, both on this channel and in the VIP. We have the NFL spreadsheet up and ready to go. We're going to have a lot more coming as the week progresses, but if you guys are looking for the basics projections for all 3 major sites, Fanduel, DraftKings, and Yahoo, the Showdown Slate for both DraftKings and Fanduel, the flex game that they got going on, and then tiers. I have tabs in the NFL spreadsheet. Link is up and ready for you guys in the VIP portal, and then of course get into that rundfs.com VIP Discord. If you're not familiar with us, if you're new to the channel, we definitely have some heavy hitters at all different stakes and all different sports, but our boy Always Be Plays and literally has hit the Millie Maker for NFL at the end of last season in December. So we got some pretty sharp cats with pretty sharp processes for NFL, and we definitely invite you guys to come be part of our community. No egos, man. We just want to see each other succeed. If you guys go to rundfs.com, click VIP memberships, get a couple screenshots knowing that, hey, we know what we're doing here, and we invite you guys to be part of the action here. Plenty of passes to get your foot into the door, and then I cannot stress this enough. All the spreadsheets are there. This is literally what I'm using to play for a living. Get into the Discord. The Discord is where a lot of the value is at. Create yourself some connections, some networking, start learning other sports by some of the people in there that play other sports. And then every day before lock, we're in the pre-lock voice chat. I'll be in the voice chat in about an hour, making some lineups and catching up, shooting some breeze. And then for those of you that are a little bit newer and have some questions about lineup construction or anything like that, we're there. And the baseball pre-lock voice chats are a little bit softer. The process is a little bit more straightforward. So I don't mind talking a little bit of football if you guys wanted to get some football stuff out the way. So go check that out, rundfs.com, get signed up. Main event tonight, White Sox at the Athletics. We've got a 4-run total for the White Sox, a 5.1 run total for the Athletics. Dallas Keuchel taking on Frankie Montas. It looks like Montas might be somebody we think about today because of the White Sox low run total, sub 70-degree temperatures, and a pitcher-friendly Oakland Coliseum. $9K for Frankie Montas. He's definitely been somebody that has Been pretty doggone serviceable as a pitcher, especially for fantasy. 20 plus DKP in his last 3 starts. And hasn't really caved in really since coming back. So 1 game against the White Sox this season, 10 DKP. That's not what you want, and that was on the road. So maybe we dial that back and expect him to perform a little bit better in the Coliseum. But I think with Montes, his K rates have kind of gone backwards against righties. Last year, a 29% K rate to righties. This year, 24%. So he lost about 5% in that. But his K rate's gone up against lefties. So it's kind of making up the difference here. So it kind of depends on what this White Sox lineup does come out to be. But they do have strikeout potential. A lot of 23+% K rates in that 1 through 6 of the projected lineup. So I will have some Montes in the pool. I'm definitely more on the Yu Darvish side, but Montes will be in the mix for me tonight. I'm curious to see where his field ownership will be. I will not have any Dallas Keuchel. Keuchel's somebody that I feel inclined to pick on here. A 12.4% K rate to righties with a 4.72 xFIP. Other than Matt Olson, we could see an all-righty lineup. Josh Harrison's been leading off against lefties. I think 2,900 on Fanduel becomes a really incredible value opportunity over there. I think at second base position, Starling Marte, somebody that can get on base versus these metrics. Can hit for power, but can also steal and swipe a bag or two. And then Matt Olson, I wouldn't leave him out of my athletic stack either because he can hit with power to both sides of the plate, and Dallas Keuchel can allow you to make contact to both sides of the plate. So I'm in on the athletic stack. I'm not pitching Dallas Keuchel. I have a little bit of Montes and probably just a little bit of White Sox stacks just because this slate feels pretty wide open. And I think I'm just going to be very spread in terms of offensive exposure and pitching exposure. And most of my pitchers that I have today, I'll probably want a little bit of hedge exposure outside of the Angels. I think it's risky. I think I'll go ahead and not stack the Angels. If Ohtani does make the lineup and DraftKings adds him, maybe I'll have Ohtani's bat sprinkled here and there. But I don't really feel inclined to get behind the Angel stack. Maybe that's going to be a mistake. Maybe that's the most glaring mistake, especially if Darvish does come in as the highest owned pitcher, and maybe I'll run that back. But for the most part, that's where I'm at on that game. And that's where we're at on the slate. Chat, that is it. So if you guys had any run back questions, comments, concerns, be sure to throw them at me. A bunch of lineups came out, so we'll kind of spend this part of the stream filling in the blanks on the lineups that are now confirmed, maybe revisiting some thoughts. But for the most part, we'll be hanging out for a little bit. We're way ahead of schedule. Usually this stream doesn't finish till like 3:30, 3:40. So I'm willing to hang out on the air. But if you guys are busy, you want to get your research done, all I ask is before you leave, hit that thumbs up and double check that you are subscribed. And then if you guys need to follow me later, follow up with me later, twitter.com/Gundacker. Harrison got injured last night. Oh, we got to check on that. Chapman BVP. Come on, boy. Come on, bro. If Darvish is under 10%, he would be in all my lines. I don't think he will be. I don't think he will be. Like he has to be the highest owned pitcher, right? Like he has to be. Maybe I just don't know. Orioles lineup not out yet. We do have both the Blue Jays and the Yankees lineup. Corey Dickerson in back-to-back starts, leading off Marcus Semien, Vladdy Jr., Bo Bichette, Teoscar Hernandez, Alejandro Kirk. This mother effer. Lourdes Gurriel. Kirk has a very unique stature about him if you've never seen him play. Definitely somebody that would walk past you at a Walmart or in a gas station, and the last thing you would think is that guy's a professional athlete. So, shout out to Kirk for the for the big boy squad. But yeah, man, he is terrorizing the Yankees right now. Brett Gardner leading off for the Yankees. Aaron Judge batting second. Anthony Rizzo batting third. Giancarlo Stanton batting cleanup. DJ LeMahieu batting fifth. Interesting spot there. Joey Gallo batting sixth. Gary Sanchez returns to the lineup batting seventh. Rougned Odor batting lefty. Andrew Velasquez batting ninth. So they kept Gardner and Velasquez from yesterday. They sat down Giovanni Urshela, who has never looked worse at the plate than right now. We have Gary Sanchez in the lineup today. when we had Higgy yesterday. So this is a very different day-to-day lineup for the Yankees for the most part. We mentioned Manoa's weaknesses is the power to lefties. So they were able to put more lefties in this lineup than righties. Gardy, Rizzo, Gallo, Odor, Velasquez. So kudos to the Yankees for trying. I was never super comfortable with Manoa as is, but that's the reason why we're playing both sides here. Let's look at the strikeout rates, though. They added Velasquez and Odor, and that increased the overall strikeout propensity here. I got a 30% carry rate on Judge against righties since the beginning of last year, 28% on Stanton since the beginning of last year against righties, Gallo at 34%. Gary's at 28, Odor's at 30, and Velasquez is at 34.6% so far. So the strikeout potential actually increases, but they do play against the splits a little bit stronger. So a little bit of give and take there. So Manoa is still in the mix for me. Not much is going to change there. We're stacking both sides. We're playing both pitchers. Braves, we don't have a Nats lineup yet. Phillies lineup, nothing yet. Reds, we already had that one. Was that it? We didn't get. Oh, we got a Cardinals lineup. Tommy Edman, Goldie, Tyler O'Neill is batting third. Nolan Arenado batting cleanup. Yadi Molina batting fifth. Lars Nootbaar makes the lineup. Edmundo Sosa, Harrison Bader. It's time. It's time. It's Bader time. Time. And that's it. That's all of our lineups. Darvish is at 65%. Yeah, I feel like that's what I expected. Like anyone against the Angels right now, we should probably expect egregious ownerships for, you know? Anyways, PrizePicks.com, man. They are our title sponsor. If you guys aren't on PrizePicks, get on PrizePicks. Use code GUNDECKER when you sign up. Get up to $100 deposit bonus on your initial deposit. And then maybe we'll hunt for some picks here for tonight's slate. We mentioned there's a couple of games before the main slate that involved Tristan McKenzie, Joe Ryan, Matt Manning, Mitch Keller, Rich Hill, and Sandy Alcantara. Just out of curiosity, is Alcantara at home? He is. I don't mind Alcantara at home. So I'll put him in the bottom here. I think 6 is kind of pushing it, but I do like his split at in Miami. So far this season at home, a 25% K rate, a 196 average allowed, a 0.64 home run per 9, a 3.14 xFIP. So I maybe wouldn't hate a shot or two at Alcantara. I know the Mets are hitting better. Alec Manoa at 5.5. I'd probably take the over on that quickly. I do think that has room to go up based on this now confirmed Yankees lineup. We have seen him get 5 or better against Detroit, against the White Sox, against the Angels. Maybe it's a little bit of a stretch here, but 9 against Tampa, 10 against Tampa. I think he has the potential to strike out that lineup at a pretty decent clip. And we mentioned that the Blue Jays, they got a special feeling in that locker room right now because they have a real shot at jumping the Red Sox and getting right back in that wild card position. So look for Manoa to maybe pitch with a little extra spice today. Looking at some of these other strikeout props here, there's not a ton that make you feel warm and fuzzy. Darvish is at 7, but the Angels are that bad. I think Blake Snell was at 7.5 yesterday, and he got to 8 in no time. Dallas Keuchel's at 3. I'd probably be interested in the under, even though that feels a little bit rough. But this is a very contact-prone Athletics lineup. How often is Keuchel spoiling us at 3? 1-1, 3 against Tampa, 2-1. Give me the under on Keuchel, 3 strikeouts. If it gets to 3 and it pushes, I'll take it. But this is a very contact-prone Athletics team. So I'm not really looking for Keuchel to dice them up. Now let's talk about some player projections. So I'm going to look at the bomb detector and get that reshuffled here. I'd probably be looking to bet some overs on the Atlanta Braves scoring props. So sometimes when I see guys projecting extremely well into bomb detector and I already kind of like them, I look at what their point prop is on PrizePicks. If you're not familiar with that, on the MLB tab itself, you can it'll auto pull you the single stat DFS like JRAM 1.5 hits plus walks. I tend to go to the fantasy score. There's a lot of double zeros in the hits plus walks or the on base. You know what I'm saying? Like total base and stuff like that. Fantasy score is kind of all encompassing, and that's what we're here for anyway. So guys that I think are in a good spot to do well, especially guys that hit homers, they're always going to have a chance at an 8 fantasy point projection or over. Yeah, I don't think I've seen more than an 8 ever. So today a lot of 6 and a lot of 7s, and it's based off of Fanduel scoring. So stolen base guys that you can see hit for a double, some RBI potential. So I think there is, or at least for me, more favorable edges in betting the overs on fantasy points here. So what I might do is cross-reference a couple guys that I've identified as solid plays in the bomb detector. I think Ozzie Albies makes me the most warm and fuzzy. I love him against any lefty to begin with, but going against a lefty that has struggled so far and doesn't really have a lot of DNA to suggest that he's going to be a great pitcher. I'm in on Albies, so I'm going to control F Ozzie Albies. He's got a fantasy projection of 8. That's a double, a couple runs. I'm in on that. So give me some Ozzie Albies. Otherwise, looking through this lineup and looking at the bomb detector, some big sample. Yasmani Grandal has a decent. Maybe Josh Harrison. Josh Harrison, a good hit for average guy. Well, actually, you said he got injured yesterday, so he may not be a lock to make the lineup. But if he was in the lineup and he does lead off, I like his chances to get on base and steal a bag. And the same for maybe Starling Marte. So I guess we go look at the athletics section. Big Van Vader, you already know. Good morning, Mia Moore. Your cat's been ridiculous. Josh Harrison's at 7.5. So if he does catch the lineup lead off, I take a shot on that. Somebody mentioned Chapman had good numbers historically against Keuchel. No, he's a contact guy. I would take advantage of that. Anyway, Starling Marte, if he gets on, he's going to run at will. I don't mind looking his way. Tatis is at 9. That's one of the highest scores that you'll see. Shohei Ohtani, I believe you have to start to count. Don't quote me. I don't know if a pinch hit validates any of the over-unders, but Ohtani potentially not a starter here. And then 4.5 on McCutchen. That's really low, but Peralta is reasonable. So I would be looking for Josh Harrison over, Starling Marte over, Ozzie Albies over, and then probably Alec Manoa over. So those are 4 that I'm kind of digging. So maybe don't put them all in the same card, but some of my takes that maybe you add with some of yours and hope for the best, right? Brewers lineup came out, so we can get that punched in, see if that changes anything. Harrison's back is injured. Okay, well if it is like a serious thing, I don't think he would be in the lineup, but we'll see. If he wasn't in the lineup, I wonder if that would give you like a leadoff Marte or something like that. Brewers are Colton Wong, Eduardo Escobar, Christian Yelich, Omar Narvaez, Luis Urias, Daniel Vogelbach in the lineup, Lorenzo Cain, and Jackie Bradley Jr. So, Vogelbach is the name that kind of stands out to me here. A guy that hits for a lot of pop, does have some strikeout problems, but at 2,300 on DraftKings, if you're going to dare him with a contact pitcher like Kyle Gibson, 17% carry to lefties, bad things happen to good people. So kind of a name I wasn't expecting to be viable today. So maybe look his way. And then Lorenzo Cain in the lineup as well, 2,600. If you've seen him lately, he's been looking a little bit more like old school Lorenzo Cain. A couple big games when he has hit the starting lineup. Last couple games for him, a pair of hits yesterday. Hit a homer in back-to-back games in the San Francisco series. We've even seen a couple stolen bases out of him. So I don't mind a couple of value shots at him. Wouldn't go crazy. We do expect him to not be that player every day, but it's still something that I don't mind putting a couple chips on versus a contact guy like Gibson, who has also shown a little bit of walk problems as of late, right? Why didn't you put him in here? Like, I tried to. He wouldn't come in. That's it, Chad. I think that's it. So let's talk about the schedule for the next couple days. Tomorrow, there will not be a live stream because I believe the MLB schedule tomorrow is all over the place. And we have football in the night time, right? So tomorrow, a noon game, a 2:30 game, a 5:10 game, 5:10, and then just a 4-game main slate. So it's just kind of all scattered everywhere. So we're not going to do a live stream tomorrow afternoon. We will have full VIP coverage for the main slate in the RunDFS.com MLB VIP spreadsheet. But you guys will probably care more about the Cowboys and the Buccaneers. But we will be back on the channel Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. So look for that. Will be more NFL content coming to this channel tonight, tomorrow, and as we get closer to game day Sunday. So I'm excited about that. Make sure you guys are subscribed if you want to be notified when stuff comes out. Make sure you hit that notifications bell. Otherwise, twitter.com/Gundacker is how you guys can stay connected. DMs are open. I appreciate you guys, as always, spending a little bit of your day with a little bit of my day. I hope you crush it tonight. Shoot me them screenshots on Twitter, and I'll see you guys next time. Good luck. God bless, and go win some money.